All right, what's up, everybody? No, we're late, but we just here late night trying to go in and talk about what we saw last night when I was on that panel with Kurt. So, last night I was on a panel with Captain Kurt, and on that panel with Captain Kurt, we got Megan on from Truckee, the one that went and talked to Sammy and did a whole lot of stuff she said she had done. And it sounds like she's hiding stuff, right? She was on ickedmel's channel. She sounded super sped up, like somebody maybe dubbed the speed on the video, and she talks very fast. So she sounded geeked out of her gore when conspiracy it was conspiracy when she released the video of all the recordings with all of ickedmel's questions cut out, and it was basically just the Megan woman going through all of her answers without the questions for any context. So it kind of got a little misunderstood, right? And then she doesn't explain herself very well because she's got ADHD. So she just goes off into circles and gives tons and tons of backstory and details that don't matter. I mean, that's just how she talks. That's how she does. And I follow it because I do that too. That's the way I talk. I annoy my fiance like very, very bad because I'm constantly just running off at the mouth and talking and just never shut up. She says she never gets the chance to comment because as soon as she does, I'll cut her off and start talking again. And that's what ADHD is. Our minds, they just keep functioning and keep functioning. Like you can't turn it off. You just think about things constantly. So I understand where the woman's coming from, and I kind of understand her. Like I get what she's trying to say when she's saying it. So I thought I would watch this. And since last night, it was like they did this for 2 hours before I came on. So I understand their brains were a little scrambled trying to listen to it. But, it's not as bad as what I heard because I can make it out because I speak the same way, right? So let's get into this and let's listen to a little bit of what she's got to say, and then we'll break it down the best we can if it's misunderstood, and we'll comment on it.
But
can I ask you something?
Yeah.
How long have you guys known Sammy? Like, how long has your daughter hung out? Just since she's been gone from college, college on, or before?
I came back in 2016. Is when we moved here, and they've known each other ever since then. So there's your answer.
So it's like 6th grade or something like that, right? Or 6 years or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
My daughter was when we moved back here. My daughter was 13. Or no, my daughter was 13. So for the first 3 years, I had to drive them back and forth to.
Now remember, the question here was how long have y'all known Sammy, right? So basically, she's known Sammy since they were 13. I think that's what she's trying to say. Her daughter's been at college for a year, so say her daughter's 19, maybe 20. And so they've known Sammy like 7 years, but she doesn't know Sammy that good, and she'll get into that. Let's read some of these comments real quick. Hey, by any chance, does she work at a beauty salon? She reminds me of somebody that might be working at a beauty salon, the way she talks when she's cutting hair or something, Hey, maybe. I mean, I think she's, I don't think she works. I think she's a single mom who has enough money that she probably is in business for herself doing something knick-knack. Or, I mean, she could make a lot of money in what she is in. Just because she rambles on and talks like that doesn't mean she's stupid. It just means that her brain is constantly firing, But yeah, cutting hair, very possible. Because she's just making conversation and she's used to filling in any gaps and not letting anybody else speak, because most people getting their hair cut don't speak that much. Yeah, definitely. She might be trying to stick to a script. Maybe she has like a set thing that she wants to say, that she wants to get out, and then she can't get it out. I honestly feel like this woman, in my mind, is unless I change my mind when we listen to this, because some of this I wasn't here for, and then I came in and finally got to get on panel. But for a long time, I was backstage listening to her ramble last night too. But I think that she knows Sammy, and when this happened and she found out about it, she says she saw in the Facebook groups of Truckee, and basically Sammy was getting bashed before we ever had anything. Like before YouTube blew up and the American Dream Chaser interview with Sammy came out, people from the local area had watched the news and were already pointing out the same things we were pointing out about Sammy. So she goes and finds Sammy and shows her some video made where Perplexed, I guess, compares her. Well, no, that was after. So anyway, she goes to Sammy before the American Dream Chaser interview, and she basically asked her all the same questions that he asked her, and she feels like she might have helped prepare her. She'll get into that later, but that's what she's basically saying. And she's like, she doesn't think Sammy has anything to do with it, but she has another friend who supposedly saw Kylie's car go into the water very slowly, but she didn't realize that it was actually the car going in. She thought maybe she was just tripping or had looked away and didn't see the car turn off or something like that. But then when she went in the next day and she saw Kylie was missing, she says she called the cops, and the cops didn't do anything. And that's what Megan is on this panel trying to say. But she's being questioned and she's not ever getting the answer out. So she never gets to the point to say that she has this recording that's being released and she wants people to hear it. That kind of gives why she seems so conflicted. At first she was just, yeah, I know what you mean. No, I didn't take it negatively. But at first she's trying to help Sammy because her daughter and Sammy are friends. And I believe that her son and Sammy have some connection too. I believe maybe, and I'm not saying this is true or whatever, just it feels that way. And you'll see in these conversations that her son might be the person who brought Sammy home from the party. Because she tries not to talk about her son. She tries to leave him out of it. He wasn't at the party, even though he's the same age as Sammy and a senior in high school. She wants to keep him far away from this and connect to Sammy through her daughter, who's a couple years older than Sammy and away at college and couldn't possibly be linked to this at all, So that's what I got from her. I think she's meaning well. And she's trying to expose bad law enforcement, honestly, that the law enforcement didn't follow up on the tip from the person who saw Kylie's car go in the water. And then they never found her for 2 weeks. And then they have the fire cam footage that they could have went and checked. Is the fire department not helping the police department look for the missing child? Because around here, down in the South in Alabama, the fire department also helps with the missing child. It's not just the police, So how did they not think, hey, we've got a camera that watches for fires? Like, I get that it's not the fire department, it's the wildland fire department, but it's still all connected. It's still a county, state issue, This is a huge man hour, or 19,000 man hours, huge search for Kylie, and nobody thinks to check the camera pointed in that direction. It's ridiculous. And then somebody calls the police and tells the police, I saw a car go in right in this area. And the cop says, which area? Can you take us out and show us exactly where it was? They said, yes. The cop said, we will contact you tomorrow, and then never contacted them. And then they never followed up because they thought, hey, I'm not sure that I actually saw that anyway. Maybe I was seeing things. So I understand why the woman's conflicted. In the beginning, she's trying to defend Sammy, and then she sees a bunch of reporting on it and sees all the interviews with Sammy and how Sammy's acting, and she can't explain why Sammy's acting that way. So then she's thinking maybe she did. And then she talks to this other friend who says, I seen the car go in very slowly toward the edge of the water. And then she's thinking, oh no, did I send the car? Did I see the car go in the water? Well, I tried to tell the cops, but they didn't listen anyway. So this woman's thinking. So Megan then hears that story. She recorded that story. That is 100% factual. We have a recording of that story. But she sees that and she's tripping out, then thinking, well, maybe Sammy and them did push the car in the water. And she doesn't know. So she starts getting on these panels trying to talk to spread truth and help Sammy. And then afterwards, when she starts thinking, well, maybe I'm wrong about Sammy, then she goes quiet. Then she has this call and she wants the family to hear the call. So she puts the call out. I think she means well. I think she's trying to do the right thing. I don't think she's in any way connected to the Kylie thing, unless maybe her son gave Sammy the ride home. That's the only way I see her really connected to it. Otherwise, I think she was just bored and nosy and ADHD, and she got into the true crime mindset, watching everybody, and wanted to contribute, wanted to help. So she went around talking to people and recording people and trying to get involved and correct her mistake of feeling like she coached Sammy for the interviews. But anyway, let's watch a little bit more and see what she says here. My internet's been so slow today. Hopefully this isn't going to be the case.
Both schools. And then when my daughter got her license at 16, she then took over taking my son and the kids and my son to school and everything else. And then she had a boyfriend. They all knew each other. So my daughter was the only one that had a car at the time. So my daughter would drive people around or when they would hang out. So my daughter was the driver. And that's why she was called Mom in the Venmo, is because my daughter never charged anybody for gas, but if they were willing to give gas, she was. And my daughter was the older one out of all of them, so they respect her. My daughter makes good decisions and is the one that's there. No, like, not to sound like I'm up doing my daughter, but it is just what she is. She won't do what she knows is wrong.
This mother believes that her daughter wouldn't do bad things. And then she believes that her daughter has a good opinion of Sammy, so she feels confident in her daughter's opinion of Sammy, even though she doesn't know Sammy as well as she acted like she knew,
I asked her many times to go do something wrong so I could punish her. She never has.
Mm-hmm.
So did you ever really conversate with Cindy or James, Sammy's parents, since she stayed with you guys or stuff?
I've never met Sam's parents. I asked this the other day. I asked my daughter the other day.
Never met Sam's parents. So, like I said, she doesn't know them as well as she tried to come off as she knew them before. And Sam didn't come to her for advice. She saw the drama and then she seeked Sam out and showed Sam what, like the video, the Chris Watts video from Perplexed or whatever, showed Sam that video and then turned around and said, like, basically coached her up on what to say in interviews so she wouldn't look guilty.
He said the reason why, and she said, how have you never met, someone said, how has she never met Sam's parents? When you're 16 years old and you have your own car and you have your own license and you have your own job and you have your own everything, how many times and someone shows up at your house that you've met once or twice, and I can
relate to that. Listen, I can relate to that. That's why I asked you if you were the hip, cool, down to earth mom that, look, I'm going to be real. I'm going to keep.
So this woman, Kurt thinks this woman is the party mom, that everybody comes to her house and shows up in parties and she doesn't really know any of their parents because, she's not the responsible one. But Megan is trying to put out that she is the responsible one and her kids don't go out and party like that. When they do go out with them, they're the designated driver. They're the ones not doing something wrong. Her daughter's into rodeo, whatever, and I guess cowgirl shit. And her son is out of trouble, wasn't at the party, didn't go party with the rest of the seniors on the farewell party or whatever. He didn't have any interest in that, according to her.
Keep it 100% transparent. I hung around with a lot of kids growing up, and I hung around with parents that were a little bit more lenient. Y'all live in California. Smoking pot ain't no big deal in California. So some parents are like, yo, come kick it on the back porch, keep it in the house. I don't want to see y'all out there doing stupid shit. And
That's right. A lot of parents when I was growing up had the idea that I'd rather know and you do it here and be safe than you go out trying to do it somewhere else and then come home hiding it and take a bunch of risks that you didn't need to take, because they believe teenagers are going to be teenagers and teenagers are going to do it regardless. And they're probably right. I mean, teenagers are going to do it regardless. I just can't imagine telling my child this is okay when it's not okay. I mean, smoking weed, you should not smoke weed until you're 21, 22, 23 years old. Your brain is still developing as a minor. No, I did it. Everybody does it. But if you allow it, they're going to do it more. If you tell your child it's okay to do this, it's okay to smoke weed, maybe they try cocaine, because there's always going to be that they're going to do it anyway, even if you tell them not to. So tell them not to do everything, and then maybe they only take the small step rather than the big jump, you know? And there's a whole thing to be said about overprotecting and over sheltering too. I got a Jordan Peterson video about that. You can go check that out if you see what I like to see. I'm not talking about let your kids do whatever. I'm talking about don't let them do things. Make them make good choices. Convince them that it's in their best interest to do the right thing. And then, we're all self-serving. Anyway.
I respect parents that are like that. And you don't have to admit to being that, but that's what I thought about. When I started hearing you come up and talk, I thought about, man, this lady might be the hip, cool mama that don't mind for things that really aren't relevant in life sometimes to go on. Where'd she go? She dipped, said,
she gone.
See you.
She gone.
Where'd you go?
She might have lost connection.
All right, well, I'm going to have to clear
that happened a couple of times when she was on panel the other day. She did come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that's important to remember, though, from the phone calls is that her service sucks. That's why she was trying to speak so fast and tripping over her words with ickedmel, because she was trying to get it all out before she would lose service again. Anyway, at least that's what she said.
Yeah, there's a few times that she did that.
There is some parts of this video, though, where there's these three friends that want to talk to her. I feel like Obsession is one of the three friends, or she just knows the three friends because she's the one that delivers the message. But right after that, she suddenly has to get off for a minute to fix something, even though she can speak clearly and we can hear her fine, and she doesn't have a camera on. So I don't know what that means. Maybe something froze up on her end, but it was right after she said the three friends want to talk to you for a minute, and then she's gone for a minute and comes back. So there is some shady stuff going on this stream with on and off, talking to people behind the scenes. But I think it's mostly just the people who released the recording trying to keep her focused online to mention, hey, this recording is out. Have you heard this recording? And not just scattered like we got.
A lot on, I think it was ickedmel.
Oh, yeah,
too.
you're right. Yeah, no, she did it on Megan. I think.
Yeah. On
Michelle.
Michelle's and on Brittany's. So
hey,
yeah, just give her a
Delana Hicks. You got to stop that. That's got to stop. I've seen things like that in here. You got to stop. That ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work.
Why is she reading notes for? She says she's not even a fan of them.
Yeah, but don't entertain it. But I just want to let the chat know, and I want to let the mods know that type of stuff. That is. You can remove the comment. Don't ban them, but you can remove the comment. I'm gonna bring you in real quick. What's up, man?
Yo, what's up, man?
How much? Did you have a question for her, or did you want to just come kick it? Because I'm gonna try to get her back in here, and I just want to clear the chat.
What's up, Haunting Haley? Yeah. What do you think about the panel last night? And thank you for the sub. But what do you think about the panel last night? Do you feel like maybe she was more on her back foot, and if we would have let her get off of her back foot a little more and feel more comfortable, we could have got more info? Or do you feel like she was just running in circles, saying the same things over, using different words, just talking to hear herself talk? Because that's it. She had some relevant information, but it was all felt in between like nonsense, and we would jump from one subject. She would be starting to tell us about something that happened, and she would get sidetracked before she'd get to the point, and then somebody would ask a question, and we would never get that main point that she was trying to make. We would only get around it, and then she would go back to it later when she would take a side road from something else, but then she would never finish. I wanted to get her on here tonight so I could talk to her and kind of like just have a conversation where she's not super scared of what's going to be said. Like, she shouldn't read comments in live chats anyway right now, because regardless of how you feel about it, some people hate her because she's saying anything. Some people hate her because of this. So if I was her, I would stay away from comments in the comment sections, but just come in and just have a conversation about what she was trying to do, why she got involved, what happened, how she feels like things got off track, and then tell the story for like from point to point. I feel like I could keep her going because I would ask her questions instead of demanding answers. Like, no offense to nothing. I mean, I think everybody tried to do good last night. I think her and Perplexed have a beef going on where Perplexed was a little hostile toward her, and she was a little like hesitant and hostile back at Perplexed. So they had like a cat fight going on between the two. Yeah, definitely. I believe she would. I believe she would definitely get more out because she wanted to talk. She definitely wanted to talk. She wants to say what she knows and get it off her chest. And every time she starts trying to tell that, she gets like pounded in by the details. And she can't help but give those details because that's how her mind works. But the details just piss everybody off because it's weird. I don't know. Natural chemicals, marijuana one seed has like natural chemicals. Well, I don't know. I smoke pot. I get high, but I'm a 35-year-old man, and I pay my bills and all that. I don't drink alcohol. I smoke marijuana sometimes, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think there's something wrong with allowing your child to do it. Period. I was going to say while they're underage, but if my son, even if he does decide that he's going to do that, smoke pot or whatever, and I still smoke pot, I wouldn't smoke pot with my son. I just, to each their own, whatever, if that's what you feel is okay, but I don't want to nurture bad behavior in my child. I don't want my bad habits to rub off on him. I know some will, but I don't want to encourage bad behavior from my son. I want him to be his best. Now, if he smokes pot, am I going to be like hate him or something? No, but I'm not going to actively participate in something that could cause him harm. Yeah. And as hypocritical as that is, I'll eat a steak with him, but whatever. Oh, that is a trait of ADHD. I don't know if she has it, but my daughter does, and it can be so frustrating. I know liars do that so well, but just playing details advocate. Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's lying. I think she's trying not to say something. I don't know if you were in here when I said this a few minutes ago, but I think that her son might have been the one to bring Sammy home. Because she's putting out like her daughter's the designated driver. She's making the connection to Sammy be all about her daughter. But her daughter's 2 years older than Sammy, and her son is the same age as Sammy. The party was a farewell to the seniors. Her son is a senior, but he didn't go to that party. And she doesn't want to talk about him whatsoever. She wants him left out of it. And I understand, because anybody that their name comes out in this case, 5 minutes later, they did something and they ended up being part of who killed Kylie, rather than they're just speaking on the case. So I understand she wants her son as far away from it as possible, but just it feels like she's sacrificing up her daughter's name, and that her daughter's connected to Kylie or connected to Sammy because her daughter's out of town and obviously couldn't have had anything to do with what was going on there, where her son's in town. So she wants to keep him separated from it. And for whatever reason, if she's lying about anything, that's what I think it is, that her son is the ride that Sammy got home. And that might not even mean anything bad. That could just be he gave her a ride home, and now Sammy's being blamed. And that's why she wanted to defend Sammy so bad in the beginning, because she didn't want her son getting caught up in it. So she goes and she starts asking Sammy questions and this and that. And then when she called in the ickedmel show and said something about it, her daughter was like, make sure you don't include my brother, because now everybody's blaming you. They might start blaming him, and he's an 18-year-old boy, you know? Clumsy Clarence. I appreciate that. I don't think I've ever got a super sticker before, but I appreciate that, bud. I don't see a comment or nothing with it, but if it comes up, I'll definitely read it. Double clicked it. I'm sorry. There we go. Yes, just got in. I thought about the son. She constantly mentions where one child was, but not the son. Yeah, she likes to leave him out for sure. Sophia Allen. The one thing that really bothered me about Megan was the fact that she was so worried about her reputation online and Sammy. I'm not here for them. I'm here for Kylie, who was 16 and died. Yeah, one thing you'll see in this too, when we're listening to this live stream, is that she keeps having to like correct herself and be like, at first she says I was on team Sammy and now I'm team Kylie, which feels weird. Like, you weren't team Kylie when you were team Sammy. Like, you should have never thought of it as against Kylie. Like, I don't know, that just bothered me. I don't think she meant it that way, but when she said it a couple times, it hammered it home from me, you know? But yeah. And then she said, somebody was saying about what she wanted or something like that in here. And she says, yeah, I just don't care about any of it no more. And she's like, well, I care about Kylie. And it feels like she's forcing that out a little bit. Not like in a bad way. Just, she's so scared that she's falling over her own words, and she doesn't know what she's saying, but she knows like certain lines she will not cross, but she'll go into express detail about things that don't matter, working her way up to saying something that she isn't comfortable saying. And she said a lot. Let's get into this. We'll be here forever if I sit here and talk like this.
Real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed a little weird to me.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, it seemed like it was Sammy's voice talking.
No, I don't think that. We'll see.
As soon as I said that, she left the panel.
No, I don't think that. I'm not going to deal with that, but we're going to get that out of here. I want a question. She obviously, that's the same.
You know what? Y'all want to come up? Haunting Kaylee, you want to come up and talk about it? So I'm not up here by myself. Or anybody, really? I don't want to have like a whole lot of people here. My internet's lagging so bad. I'm scared that it probably cause a problem. But let me see. Maybe we'll just post it. Right. Maybe that works and isn't a problem. I don't know how any of that works, but we'll see. Now let's go back to this.
Voice that she said everything.
You said earlier, no negativity, and people keep doing it.
Yeah.
No, I've been where she's at. Being in
I got too many.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Being between
man,
a rock
hey,
and a
hold
hard
on.
place and having a hard time explaining yourself and wanting to explain yourself, and and you're having a hard time explaining yourself, and
Can everybody hold on real quick? Can everybody
and there's drama involved, and there doesn't need to be drama involved, and you just want it to go away,
Can everybody that's not Megan refrain from grabbing that StreamYard link, because I had to kick somebody a few times to keep it open back there, and I don't want to do that, but I got to get her back in here. Oh, Alabama, come on, bud! I just said it, and you come waltzing in.
Speed this up a little bit.
I know I'm trying to get the link up, but I had to kick Alabama or giving her the link.
Links for Megan.
Hey, whoever dropped that, I appreciate it. But look, Jersey, I think that's what your name was, bro. I didn't mean no disrespect by that, but I want to try to keep it relevant to what we're doing to move it along, and I don't mind bringing you up. She's there, but she ain't no sound.
See.
I hit the wrong button. That was my fault.
Because I heard you. I seen you clicking around, and I heard that little dunk on your screen, and the next thing you know, you were gone. I'm like, dang, I didn't mean to offend. Oh no! No way!
Links for Megan only.
No way, man! You gotta come back. Go to the gas station and sit in the Wi-Fi. I know there's one right there on the interstate. We done looked at it. Tons.
It's on 89.
You should have seen me the other night when I tried to go live for the first time.
Yeah.
It was funny.
You should have sent
it. It was an utter failure.
Hey, it happened. Is that when you were echoing real bad and breaking up? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had to after like the last time you started breaking up, I left for a little bit and I was like, man, what happened? It was like they were attacking your phone.
It was funny.
It was weird. We got Perplexed in the house. What's up, Perplexed?
Hey. What's up?
Megan? Not much. Megan's here.
All right.
Yeah,
let's fast forward a little bit through this.
I've got questions.
Let's get on up. Now, Perplexed. When Perplexed started, they don't like each other. I mean, they kind of go over why it is, but it's a rough one in the beginning with Perplexed and
like
Megan.
That because someone's actually
tough.
They know someone is they're able to trust a parent that's going to care about them and not care about them in a weird way, but just that someone knows. Like,
oh, and one thing, guys, if you can't see the screen like if it's really blurry, you can click on your settings icon and improve that by raising your quality from like 420 to 720 or 1080, whatever. I was having a problem with that before on other people's streams, and then once I changed that, it wasn't blurry anymore. I saw somebody on the last live I did say that they couldn't see it. It was blurry. So just in case, if you're in here and it's blurry, you can't make out the other screen, go ahead and click that settings button on it and adjust to your 720p or whatever, and it'll be clear.
Like someone cares where they're at. And some people at first hate that, but then which has been said to me, that my daughter's friends will say, your mom's very strict, and my parents let me do whatever I want. And they've gotten upset with my daughter for that. But then looking back, they've actually said over the years, they go, your mom, I'd rather have the way that you and your mom are, because your mom cares about you and cares what you're up to.
Now, what she's saying there is completely accurate. Like, it's fun to have the cool mom when you're a teenager, but then once you're an adult, you don't want the cool mom. You want a mom. As a child, you need a mother to protect you and guide you and teach you. And then once you're an adult, you want a mom to guide you and help you and teach you. It never stops. It just what she's responsible for goes away. But if your mom is your buddy all the time, then once you're an adult, you're definitely just going to be a buddy, Oh, that's just my opinion on that. But she wants to paint the picture that she is that strict mother, and maybe she is. I don't know this woman. And Kurt was wanting her to say that she was the party mom. I think she's like kind of a let them do whatever they want to do type of person, unless it gets to like heavy stuff, and then she's gonna step in and nip it in the bud, like she tried to do with this case, but she, blew it up.
Up to on a daily basis, as opposed to some of these kids that are, because they've lived in Truckee their whole life. And
now is that, but okay, so that's right out of the mouth. That's right straight from the mouth. That's not like a theory or what your thought is. That's from her mouth.
Yeah.
But Megan, in a recent interview, you said you never met Sammy.
Okay, Perplexed. I tried to talk to you day one of this, and you thought I was a troll. So I have deliberately.
Okay, so they're about to explain what their beef is about, I believe, but I think that's what it is. Now, Clumsy Clarence, he sent a super sticker, so I want to make sure I read this comment from him. It says, I guess their drama has something to do with the Chris Watts video. I don't know, though, what that has to do with this case. I think it was a Chris Watts video where Perplexed compared the interview, the American Dream Chaser interview, or another interview before that, some interview of Sammy and her actions and responses and body language compared to the Chris Watts interview when they first interviewed him about what was going on before they knew Chris Watts was Chris Watts. I think that's what it was. That's what the gist of it that I get.
Really stayed away from you because I don't think that you treated me with any respect when this first started happening.
Hold on. I promise you during this chat, Perplexed will treat you with respect. The only reason there was a question is because I heard that too. That's kind of why.
No, I have met Sammy. I have met Sam. Sam has been in my car. Sam has gone on trips with and trips meaning day trips, like to activities with my family.
Yeah, I get
and
you.
we have done things together as a group. I've seen her downtown when we have activities going on downtown.
Does that not sound like, instead of just your daughter's friend, maybe that, I mean, it could be, but could it also be your son's girlfriend or your son's friend too? And if she's that close with the family and she's going on day trips with the family and stuff, would it be really out of the question for her to see him at the party and be like, hey, he doesn't drink, let me get him to take me home? Or maybe he's at the party and he does drink and he still just took her home and now she's trying to cover all that up. I don't know. That's why I'd like to talk to Megan, so I could ask those type of questions just to try to figure out what she's really doing. Why she's online steadily rambling. Like, I think we could get a clear-cut conversation because two of us have ADHD, so I want her to get to the point, and she rambles off. I'll be consistent enough of pushing her back on track to get to the point, and maybe that'll work. Who knows?
So I have met Sammy. So yes, I have not met her parents, but I have met Sam.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I do remember that, Perplexed. There was confusion about that. So what I thought I heard too is that she said she has never met her parents, but she's met her. And people were like, well, why would her parents let her go with somebody that they never met? And I think
that's why I asked that earlier. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
What's up, Holton Haley? Can you hear me?
Yes. Do I have any feedback? I had some issues last night, apparently.
Yeah, no, that sounds good now. It sounds
awesome.
Good.
So are you just now rewatching?
I am. I started it earlier. I watched the parts where I wasn't there. And now at this point, I think I was already in the backstage waiting to come up. I was in the backstage for a while though. So I really can't remember what she said before I came up. I was in and out.
Yeah, I didn't see, I don't even think I saw this part of the panel or in the chat. So I didn't know that they had a prior issue with each other. So when I was in the panel, I was just kind of like, oh gosh, what's going on?
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah,
it's nice rewatching.
She was definitely pretty aggressive toward her, but she wants answers, and if they've already had problems and the emotions from those other times, I mean, I'm not trying to blame Perplexed for it or the Megan woman, whatever they got going on, but still, like, it made it a lot harder to get any answers, no matter what.
Well, I kind of feel like she may have felt like we weren't getting answers. So she kind of felt like I'm going to be the one to directly, maybe use some force would get it out of her. But I think that it completely went the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think that's because Perplexed had a certain line that she wanted her to go, and if she gave when she gave resistance to that, that's when she was like, "Well, what about this? Well, what about that?" And picking out those details, and that would scare Megan away from going where Perplexed wanted her to go.
Well, possibly. I just went back when I saw everyone saying like she was attacked by the panel and things like that, because by the end of it last night,
You've got feedback again.
Oh,
like
man.
a lot.
Okay, let me try to come out and come back in. I'm going to test my mic.
All right.
All right.
So yeah, I'm not saying Perplexed was in the wrong whatsoever with what she was doing, but I don't think it helped at all. I think it was I think we could have got more from Megan if we could just sat and had a calm conversation with her, and it kind of just like slowed her down on the rambling rather than asking questions we felt like we knew the answer to, or pointing out every time she said something different than she said before, because it would just throw her off from where she was going.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what I heard too. And that's
exactly
possible.
It's exactly the truth. I have never met Sammy's parents. I now know what they look like, but if you had asked if I'd known what they looked like a month and a half ago, I couldn't tell you if they walked by me. So I did not know who Sam's parents were, never met them, never.
And I feel like, and what was your point of talking about that? I feel like I know it is, but I want to hear what your opinion is. What was your point about making it clear that you've never met the parents?
Because someone thinks that, because I've been told that people think that I am in cahoots with her parents, and that I'm covering up for Sam, and that I'm taking up for Sam.
No. Hold on, let me help here, because I'm trying to help you out here. Because after you answer this, I'm going to tell you why I'm asking you this.
The problem is that she admits that she's been taken up for Sam, like in the beginning, and then she tries to say that she's trying to correct that now, that she was Team Sammy and then she switched over to Team Kylie. That's where that came from. It should have been Team Kylie all along. Like, that's mind-blowing to me.
It's important that you try to think about it. Why is it important to you? Why is it important to you that you did not know her parents? When you made that statement, what was the importance of that statement?
Oh, wait. So, yeah, Caleb Brown. Kurt seemed off at the end because it was like a timer at the top, and it was, I think, 5 hours and something, and probably 4.5 of that he had been listening to her. So I think he was filled up with information, and he was trying to go through that information already and dissect what he had already heard. So he missed all the rest of the parts where she was saying a witness saw the car go in the water and had a recording of it, and it was released. He missed all that at the end because he was still worried about how she knew the woman from the grocery store or bank where a mouse is jumping over her feet walking down the aisle. Like, he was trying to process through all that, and he got hung up on that pretty good. That's where Kurt was. He had just been listening to it for 4.5 hours. So I imagine I'm doing this. We're 2 hours in before I even started.
Someone asked me if I knew her parents, and I said no.
Okay. I was hoping that you would say, because you've stated that you were a strict parent. I'm a parent.
All right, Haley, you good now?
Yeah, I put on auto adjust, so hopefully this works. Is it better?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, awesome.
I have 3 kids. I have a 19-year-old daughter that just recently started driving.
Yeah.
A lot of things. So I would never, ever allow my daughter at the age that they are to just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going with so and so, and I'm gonna be over here, and I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna go in the car. I'm gonna go to a bunch of places. I'm not gonna meet the parents. That's not gonna happen." So that's why I asked you that. So
Okay, and then
so I was hoping you would say is that.
Yeah, that is why, because I've never met her parents because they trusted my daughter, and my daughter has met her parents. So so again, I would never have a reason to talk to Sam's parents because, like we said earlier, my daughter has had a cell phone since we moved here, and
I feel like Kurt's a little bit backwards there because he's thinking like you let your daughter go with her and her family and you didn't meet her family. But reality, Sammy's parents let her go with the girl and her parents and they didn't meet her.
I think he was a little bit backwards on a few things when I played it back. And I have mad respect for him. I think, he handled the situation as well as, probably better than most people could after that many hours of kind of rambling. But I think, like you said, by the end of it, because I know by the end, I literally had to take Tylenol last night for a headache before I went to sleep. So I think he was probably I think his brain was kind of all over the place and he was getting bits and pieces, but not fully listening to everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. He missed a lot in it, but yeah, who can blame him, And he was,
For sure.
At least he had control. Like he never let the Perplexed Megan drama get too heavy before he stepped in, but he was always team Perplexed.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure Megan probably, to an extent, she had to feel that because by the end of it, I kind of felt that. And when you're coming on a panel and you're already kind of in the spotlight, and then there's so many of us and it probably doesn't help when someone up there you already have bad history with.
Right, yeah. But, I mean, no use crying over spilled milk, I hope I can get her to come and talk where it can be a more balanced deal, where she doesn't feel uncomfortable. That's what I want. I want to talk to her when she's not uncomfortable. She'll be uncomfortable because she's on camera, but where she doesn't feel like I'm against her. Because I don't think she did anything wrong with the Kylie situation. And when she's well-meaning the entire time, she's just scrambled. She was trying to help Sammy. And then after she helped Sammy, she got online. Everybody made her feel like she was wrong for helping Sammy, which maybe she was. I'm not saying she wasn't. I'm just saying, like, everybody made her feel like she was wrong for helping Sammy. She started questioning herself. Then she tried to course correct and just made a big mess. Now she's trying to go back and clean it up, but everybody's got this idea of, no, you said this the first time. And that I feel like that's what she was saying last night, that she messed everything up by trying to help Sammy. She coached Sammy before the interviews. She doesn't know. She believes her daughter that her daughter says Sammy couldn't have done something like this. So she trusts her daughter, but then her friend says she saw the car go in super slow into the water. And she doesn't know with the way Sammy's acted on interviews. She says she can't explain what, Sammy doing certain things. So I think she got in her own head and went online or got in her own head after she went online and then come back and tried to fix it and just scrambled everything.
I agree with that. And I had a list of questions last night, but one thing I don't know if you remember, but I did ask her was, if this was her kid, would she basically like someone playing the part that she's played, doing what she did?
Yeah,
and she very openly and quickly said no. So I think it may be, I mean, she could have more knowledge than what she has, maybe, but I think some of that is kind of one of those hindsight's 2020, you know? So
Yeah, definitely. All right. Let's see.
Would you let
Yeah,
your daughter go to a friend's house without meeting the parents and go on a bunch of trips? That's what I'm asking.
No.
That's what my point is. So
Nope.
why I was saying that is, were you kind of giving out the feel on what your opinion was on her parents? I mean, that's why I'm asking. I think that's what everybody wants. Were you trying to say that you don't know her parents, so you can't judge your parents? Or are you trying to say you don't feel that it was very responsible to allow them to go, so you can't really speak on? Like, I was confused about that a little bit too.
I have never met her parents. I just know that her parents pretty much let Sam do what she wants to do. So that is the answer to that question.
How do you know that?
Because Sam will tell you that her parents will let her do whatever she wants to do. She doesn't.
Now, does that mean that Sam makes good choices so they don't question her that much, or does that mean they don't care?
what I gathered from what she was saying, because she goes on like and mentions their age and things like that, I think it's kind of a situation where these parents are much, much older. They're 4 kids in, you know, and not to say they're bad parents, but I think either they're kind of maybe even blind to everything that goes on, you know, different generation. I know my mom raised me better than to make a lot of the decisions I made when I was a teenager. But
Definitely,
you know what? If I could get around it, I would get around it. So, you know, it could be something that they're not irresponsible parents. Now, I wouldn't send either of my children anywhere without speaking to the parents and getting to know them. But it could be they're just older and this is a small community.
I think
and
going
they trust her.
over to their house is fine, but I wouldn't let them go on it like anywhere. I wouldn't let them ride in the car with them, honestly, if I didn't know them. But if they're a teenager and they're driving and they went to go visit their friend, I don't feel like I have to meet every parent of every friend immediately before they're allowed to drive over to their house. But I'd want to know how to get in contact with them for sure. I'd want to have their numbers and probably talk to them. I don't know about meeting them though, but definitely before my kid ever went anywhere with them. But yeah, they did say she was the youngest of 5, right? Isn't that what Megan said last night?
I thought it was 4, but it could have been 5. I may be wrong.
Maybe she had 4 older siblings, or maybe it was 4 of them total.
Yeah.
I can't really remember, but I guess you probably would. I'm a lot more relaxed on my 5-year-old than my stepson, who's 11. Well, I was a lot stricter on him at 5 than I am on my 5-year-old now at 5. And I don't know if it's because I've changed, not like let him get away with everything, but certain little things I don't demand as much perfection from him. I think that's just my maturity though. I don't think that it would be so different if I had a few more. I don't think I would just let them do whatever they wanted to do. I don't know.
But
I'm just thinking
I've also
out loud.
picked up. I feel like Sammy has some like narcissistic traits, and I will say that especially as a parent, we want to see our kids in the best light. And a lot of times, some parents are like the kind that are micromanaging and looking for anything, while others are like, no, my kid's an angel, you know? So I think too, though, that when you're looking at people, I mean, she was leading the teen team, like for the teen talks and things like that. Her parents probably looked at that. If they're not aware of anything incriminating on her end, they probably looked in at that like, I have a super awesome kid. You know, she's got a good head on her shoulders. And so it could be some of that as well.
That's what I meant when I said you think they just believe she makes all good decisions, so they don't question her very much. Because I mean, she does seem like I don't know how to say that. I don't want to act like I'm saying she seems mature. You know,
Yeah.
she seems like she knows what she's planning to do and has a plan and is about to follow it. And that's a good thing because a lot of 18-year-olds have no clue. And maybe she doesn't, but she seems like she knows what she wants. Like she's assertive.
Yeah, she
Doesn't-
also seems street smart
Yeah,
to me.
definitely. Yeah.
have
And I believe that because of the way that she carries herself. I do believe that. I believe she carries herself as a spoiled little kid that will do whatever she wants, and she doesn't take no for an answer. I 100%.
Okay, well, let me explain this to you. Sam has 4 or 3. There's 4 children altogether, and she
There's
is the
the
baby.
answer.
There's 3 older ones, and as older, it goes all the way up. And as Perplexed has said, that one, I believe she knows the exact age. I don't even know the exact age. One, I believe, is in their 40s. One is in their 30s, and one is in their 20s. So Sam is the baby, and she can do it. And they're older. Her parents are older. I did know that. So they're not active on social media. They're not YouTubers. They're not anything like that. So they let Sam do what they want to do, what she wants to do. And that's it.
So,
Hey, Megan, I have a question then.
go ahead.
I thought that Sammy had a younger brother.
Nope.
Okay.
But Kylie has a younger brother.
So does Kylie's younger brother live with the mom or the dad?
The younger brother, I believe, lives with the mom. I think he maybe, you would need to fact check this because I'm not positive. Just from what I've picked up, I believe that he may be the stepfather's biological child.
Okay. The stepfather and the
noticed-
mom, or just the stepfather?
No, the stepfather and the mom together,
Okay.
where Kylie is with the ex-husband.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The dad, like, he seems like he was the strict parent. The mom was the loose parent on Kylie's end, but you haven't seen a lot from the dad, so can't really say that.
I think
It's just his reaction from AWP's video made me feel that way. Like he feels like, the mom was too lax or something, or he had some beef there about something with the mom. And the way his pointed questions, I guess, was she this, was she that? Oh, just the way he acted. I don't know. Just as I read it as another dad, that's what it came off to me as. Like he felt like the mom is the one that'll let her party, and he's the one that doesn't want her doing all that. Stay in school, do what you need to do, graduate early, keep your head straight. That's a lot to read into from a little bit, but that's just from the everything all mashed together in my brain.
I think you're 100% right because honestly, I don't even think that's a dad thing because as a mom, I picked that up. I don't want to at all speak badly on her mom. I'm not going to do that. But the mom is something I cannot relate to her mom. Let me put it that way. The interviews I've watched, just everything I've seen, no part of her can I relate myself to, but the dad I can. Yeah. I felt like he was more, I got that he was less of a friend and more of a parent. I think that he was, like you said, his reaction, like, how did they not find her? He seemed angry, but in a different way than mom was. And I was curious to know what things were like between them, the dialogue between them prior to this, because I really saw, well, not just the last name, but as far as how co-parenting, if there was any, was for them. Because it seems to me like if you notice, the dad kept a huge distance at the memorial. They seem to be on 2 entirely different pages as far as where guilt may or may not lie here.
Mm-hmm. And the dad wants answers, and the mom wants everybody to leave it alone. I don't know that. I'm not saying that the dad wants YouTube investigating and coming up with theories and theories and theories, but I don't think he's against it the way the mom is, or wanting to like move on from it. I think he wants answers. I think that's what he said. You know, I would want answers. I would want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to be, it happened and it's over and we're just going to remember her. No, I'd want to know. I want to make sure that if something happened to my child, that whoever did it paid for it.
For sure. And I think this is horrible. You know, you see married couples that have a great relationship and afterwards, after something like this, they divorce. So I imagine for parents that are already separated, this could be a difficult situation. But I think dad just wants the truth. I don't think necessarily he's, you know, how do I say it? He's pro YouTube creators looking for it, but I honestly don't think he minds either. But I think I saw an interview with AWP where one of them mentioned that the same interview where he says there's only 10% of the interview with the road service guy that we see. I think in that same one, he mentions that he just doesn't feel like dad's going to let it go as an accident.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling.
Right.
Okay, so Sammy's didn't Sammy's grandparents adopt her?
What?
Am I not thinking of the right person?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
She said, did Sammy's grandparents adopt Sammy?
No, Sam's parents look like her grandparents because she's the young. They're older. There could be Sam's older sister. Sam's older sister is my age, is 40. So people might have that misconception, but no, Sam's parents are Sam's parents.
She did. Oh, so she lives with her grandparents.
Sam's parents are old.
Who?
Sammy doesn't live with her grandparents. I thought I saw a younger brother in a video or something.
No,
Kylie.
No, he's older. The one that you seen in the boat, he's older.
He's older.
No,
okay.
Kylie,
Cool.
the one you're talking about is Kylie, not Sam. You're getting the two confused.
No, they're talking about no, they're not. They're talking about the video that went around, the pictures
just a little bit.
Sammy in the boat with her.
Because they're just going to talk about that for.
It is what it is, and I don't care who and whatever questions it is.
And actually, wait,
you have to think about
she's
that.
right. She is right. Wait, she is right because ickedmel came up on. That's when I was trying to get.
Okay.
Because I was at a horrible place and I had no service whatsoever, and ickedmel somehow came up on my thing, and so I talked to ickedmel that's the first
I'm just
time
telling you
time.
That's all. That's the reason I said that, because you have to remember we watch it a lot. We see a lot.
And
we pay attention to it.
This was weeks ago. So and so much has happened since then that going back that far is hard for me to like remember it. But like when I refresh my memory, yes, I was in ickedmel. Then I went because Perplexed was in. I just happened to be on YouTube and Perplexed came up and so I went in there.
Can I give you a piece of advice real quick? Because I was raised by my mother, a woman, and my grandmother and my grandfather, but the women raised me. Shout out to Perplexed because I respect her because she doesn't give up. I would try to approach this situation differently because I do respect her and what she does, and she is just trying to look out for everybody involved.
I understand. No, I get it.
But just try to be careful firing shots. So I know let bygones be bygones at this moment. And just let's all talk as civilized human beings and not focus on the past. Let's focus.
That's good advice if they would have took it.
I kind of felt like it was one-sided.
Yeah, it was definitely one-sided. But I understand why it's one-sided.
Right.
The guest should have had security there, but it's also if your friend and the guest have a problem, who are you going to side with? You know.
And he doesn't know.
Friend. Yeah.
Right. He doesn't know her character or anything about her.
Right.
You know, he knows Perplexed.
He definitely knows her.
response was, well, that goes both ways because you kind of threw a shot at her by the video. If the video called for what it is, say Perplexed posted a video about me, and call what it is.
I said the person, I did not say a name. She brought herself and said the video.
That's what you should have said a name. What I'm trying to tell you is just say the name and we keep moving past it. Perplexed, don't take it to offense. Let her speak on what it is, and we'll get through that because we're gonna get a lot more. No, I know you're not. I know I'm trying to make sure that it flows just as smooth as possible, so we don't get a bunch of he say, she say, and trying to. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to look out for the benefit of everybody involved in it.
Okay.
And I respect Perplex a lot, and I love what she does, and she's gonna come at you. She's gonna come at you. She wants to know, and it is what it is. That's who she is, and we all got to respect that. If nobody can, then we'll have to figure out a way to handle that. But I feel like we can do it. All right,
that's more than fine.
Perplexed, yes. do well, finish because I know you weren't done with that question.
No, my only other question is people keep asking in chat, and I asked them what interview, and they don't know, but they want to know, how do you know that Kylie had cocaine in her system?
Good question.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
I feel like they're acting like it was confirmed, and I don't recall that being confirmed anywhere.
No, they haven't released anything about what she had in her system because that's my theory on it. I don't know if you've seen my theory video for it since you didn't know I had a channel, but what I think is that that area has a really bad problem with fentanyl. Well, I mean, the country does, but that area specifically has like a targeted campaign against fentanyl because they've had like 30-something kids die one year, 20-something the year before that. And another teen amount the year before that, and it keeps going up each year. And it's fake pressed pills with fentanyl in it instead of whatever's supposed to be in it, made out of Xanaxes and Oxys. And the teenagers are buying them off the street, and they're the pressed pills coming up from Mexico or coming over from China, or people pressing them here, and they're fentanyl, and it's not regulated, obviously, because it's black market drugs. So sometimes, fentanyl, 2 crumbs might get you high and 3 crumbs might kill you. So
yeah,
somebody might put a little too much in it. And I think that Kylie, the part where Ronnie Jones had called into ickedmel show and was saying that there were older guys who were there, they brought extra drugs and they would give drugs to the girls, and he kept saying cocaine, but there's a lot of different drugs there. And Megan, when I asked her about this, she says it's like LSD, mushrooms, more or maybe she said ecstasy and mushrooms, but LSD falls right in with that, psychedelics basically. But if there is Xanax, these kids to me look like they take drugs. They look like they do drugs. They're especially like Mags, and Sammy might not, but maybe she does. Who knows? But Jagger, Mags, Kate, Kylie, they all look like they might have partied extra, I mean, I did in high school. I'm not like saying anything terrible about them. I did too. I used to party. I used to take pain pills and smoke weed and drink and just all kinds of stuff. I smoke now, but I don't do anything else because I mean, it's you couldn't even, if you wanted to, you would be taking like a huge risk in Alabama where I'm at to buy a pill off the street. It could be, it's got a 50-50 chance of being fake and being fentanyl and you dying if you have no tolerance or whatever. And there they'll have big batches of them. I think that one of the older guys that had drugs had gave Kylie drugs and it overdosed. She overdosed. She had a bad pill or took too much or mixed something bad with it and it caused a reaction for her. She overdosed and they panicked because another one of their friends had just had a 15-year-old die from drugs he gave her, that Nate guy, whatever, from the community.
Right.
He had sold some girl drugs and it killed her, and he had been basically hooking up with her, and he's older. That's all verified. And they arrested him like 3 days after, or 3 to 6 days after the party. So if he had already had that going on and then another person dies from stuff, he's going down whatsoever, then he's going to try to not let that be known that she died from it too and hide the body. That's just my opinion. Not him specifically, but somebody there sold her pills and it was bad. They didn't want to deal with the consequences of killing her, so they tried to get rid of the body and go, or she just overdosed and rolled off into the water. But I think it has something to do with drugs, basically, is what I'm saying.
I don't think she rolled off into the water. I think that at the very least, there's a cover up. But I have gone the overdose route as well. It's honestly, I've had so many theories since the beginning of this case because I feel like every day there's something that comes up, something new, and then it takes you down another rabbit hole, you know? So, but OD is definitely up there. I do think if it was an overdose, like you said, someone having to cover it up. But I even question, like, I've heard people say that the sheriff's son was there, and I could see that as well. If there's an overdose, you know, we got to get rid of this and get it out the way because we're not going to have our town look this way. Because people go there to ski and things, you know, and when an area looks bad publicly, it definitely has an effect on tourism. And I don't know, I think if you follow the money, a lot of times, you know, it leads you to where you need to be for sure.
Yeah,
but I do
that place
question,
is full of money. Like that's.
Oh, it is.
I was telling my fiance this the other day. I don't want to get into like super conspiracy theories on this, but when you start talking about the ultra rich people who would have homes, summer homes up in Lake Tahoe, a couple $100 million in the bank or billions from tech startups from Silicon Valley and all that. That's real. When you go and you start hearing about things or money buys whatever, you watch Breaking Bad and they've got Mike, the cleanup guy. Those people really do exist. I mean, it's maybe not common, but it happens.
Right.
So, and we know it happens. So to pretend like any case has no chance to ever be associated with any of that, it's got a low probability, but it's a possibility that you have that. Here, I think we have cover up for sure. When I was saying maybe she rolled off, I'm talking about benefit of the doubt. If it's an accident, maybe she OD'd and took her foot off the brake and slowly rolled into the water. That's the only way I see that happening. If she was like parked at the water and stopped for something or and passed out there and went in. If it's that, I think somebody definitely put her in the hatch of the car and put her in the water. Without a doubt, in my mind, that's what I believe. I don't know it for fact. It's not a fact. It's not based on fact, but it's based on a true story, I guess, like a movie. Like there's some things we have to guess to get to that point, but a lot of things point in that direction and lead to that direction. All the small details from the beginning of the case when Sammy and them started talking before they got accused and the things that they said, they were trying to spread out a lot about being a lot of strange people being at the party, a lot of strange drugs that they don't normally deal with being at the party. They left at exactly the times that everything happened. They was just like, she was leaving. And then she says that Kylie called her at 12:36. That bothers me because Sammy was in the water at 12:36.
That has killed me from the beginning. Right. I think the phone, I don't think I think there's so much law enforcement has done wrong in this case. And I think, honestly, it is their shortcomings that really flipped the switch for me in my mind. It wasn't anything anybody on YouTube was saying. It was consistent screw ups. Like you cannot screw up this bad without purposely messing this up.
Right. But incompetence almost goes out the window when there's that many different things that you're doing that's asinine that a basic average person would know, hey, this is a bad idea. So like flipping a car without sealing it up or taking an inventory from it first or checking the scene after you pull the car to make sure nothing was left behind.
Exactly. But I do not think that phone will be found in the water. I think that phone has been gone since the night that she passed, and I think someone has it. and it was hidden for a reason.
I don't think anybody has it. I think it's somewhere. It may be in Boca in 150 foot of water, but I don't think anybody has it where they.
Well, maybe not on their person anymore,
but
I
took
think
it from the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that's going to be found.
No, I don't think so either, unless they already have it and we just don't know. But I feel like that would be something they would say. I know they're like hush about it, but if there's not, I don't get why they're so hush about it. If you make that many mistakes and you try not to give any leads, like if you believe that this was an accident and you're going to rule it as an accident from the start, what would it hurt to come out and say, we suspect this was an accident? Not, well, we're not answering.
I don't think they thought this case. I don't think they thought this case was going to get the attention that it did. I don't think they expected, someone from YouTube was going to pick up on it.
In real time, like once we do pick on it, though, like that's when most sheriff's departments would have a press conference and go and say, "Hey, there's a lot of rumors surrounding this. Let's get on it." Like the Sean, what's his last name? Daltrey.
Sean Daltrey case. Yeah.
Yes. Those police, when the family made the Facebook page and started saying, "Hey, we don't think that the police did this. This was a closed investigation. We don't believe that the police did a good job on this investigation." The police come out, spoke on what they did. I don't think it was a good
that was cringy
setup thing, but it was. They responded to the allegations, at least. That you would think that they could respond with information like, "Hey, we have an open investigation. We're not releasing any facts or anything about this or that. It could be homicide. It could be accident." That way, the people who are team accident would quit saying, "You're all just conspiracy theorists," or they say, "We believe this is an accident, but we're investigating it as a homicide to clear it." Something rather than we're not saying anything. We're not releasing anything until November 1st, which is 2 months away. And then all the incompetence or bad choices up until this point, they have no desire to try to make themselves look better in any way.
Right. Or to explain themselves in any way.
Explain themselves, yeah. That sounds
I think some of that, though, because it bothered me, they have addressed like the reward money, that they had no, ownership to it. So therefore they had nothing to do with how it's dispersed and things like that. So to me, I kind of said the same thing. If you can come out and comment about the money, you can't come out and comment.
But not clear everybody else by saying we believe it was an accident. Is their investigation ongoing to this point that they're still trying to prove someone did something? And then last night, I don't know if we'll get there because it's already 1:11 and we haven't watched very much of it. But last night on this live, she said that Jagger and Sammy were interrogated for 8 hours each. That's not true. That did not happen.
It's not true. Works. He was plugged into a polygraph for 8 hours. Any polygraph
they didn't even
examiner.
Give a polygraph. I would almost guarantee.
Well, and I haven't heard it
over that because that's insane. If he did, they suspect him of doing it. They're not doing that just to clear his name. That's insane.
Well, also, in my opinion, now I do know the process leading up to them giving you a polygraph can take like an hour or two. But as far as if I'm not mistaken, she stated he was basically, plugged in, or however you want to say it, connected to the polygraph for 8 hours. There is no way any examiner with 2 brain cells to rub together is going to keep someone, because at that point, even though they're not, they're inadmissible in court, at that point, it's going to be, they're basically contaminating their evidence. And that, as far as.
It just wouldn't take that long. It's a polygraph. There's not 8 hours.
Right. They want yes or no.
Exactly. They want simple, straightforward answers. Like, 20 questions is probably max is what they're going to ask on a single
For
polygraph
sure.
session.
Yep.
And they're not going to do a polygraph just for the cause. Maybe the FBI, when they thought that she was still missing, maybe that's when they questioned them about anything that they seen or done. But 8 hours each when Jagger wasn't even there and has an alibi, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. And then she says because he's the boyfriend, but he's the ex-boyfriend. Sammy says he was rocking the single life, or she was rocking the single life, or whatever. I just don't see that. That felt like that was just made up. He said that to sound more important to her. Or she was just making it up on the spot, trying to keep his name out of it.
But didn't someone say, I felt like it was Megan, but I could be wrong. Didn't someone say there was a boyfriend? I listened to someone confirm that in an interview.
Megan was calling Jagger the boyfriend, so she might have said that in another interview, but no, I don't think so. I don't think.
All right.
As far as I know, all I heard for sure was Sammy say that she was single and rocking the single life or whatever. I heard that, and I heard Jagger say he was her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Maybe in an on-again, off-again thing, and that's why other people are saying he's her boyfriend, but he said ex, Sammy said ex, so I took it as ex. But he's staying with Kylie's parent, or Kylie's mom.
Yeah, her mom and the stepdad. I have heard that. That is strange. I know a lot of people said that he is from out of town, and something about like his work situation, like maybe his job's there or something. But still, to me, I'm sorry, but until I know, and I know they're saying he's been cleared, but it's not unreasonable to think that maybe law enforcement cleared him to get him to slip up.
You know, maybe they made a mistake.
They could have even. But also, how many times have you seen law enforcement say like, oh no, we're not looking at you? It doesn't matter what they say by mouth unless you have it, concrete that they absolutely have come out, done a public statement. You are not a person of interest. And even then they can change. They can change their minds.
Based on evidence, they can change their minds about anything. But yeah, definitely. It's a way different thing, but I was military police, right? And we had the FBI come in and different police departments come in to try to train us during our initial like advanced individual training, AIT. And they would try to give like simple body language cues and simple techniques for, judging if somebody's lying to you or not, or if someone's holding back, or if someone's nervous, or if they have different intentions, basically. And most of that just bounced right off and went off most of us. But some of it, like you remember what they said, you remember in their mind, or in your mind what you were thinking when they were saying it, the different ways they acted and stuff. There's so many different techniques that police use to get people to let their guard down or be more comfortable and slip up. So it's very possible that they would say that just to make him feel more comfortable if he was guilty. I'm not saying he is. Maybe he's not, but I feel like it was somebody at the party. I'd like to know who was on the phone call when AWP got the phone call on their video where the person, they bleep out the name that she was fighting with right before there was a mass exodus and everybody left. Because that's the local gossip. And that's going to be a lot more accurate than the YouTube gossip. I wish they wouldn't have bleeped that name. Like, I wish there was some way to find that out.
I know.
Or like I've searched for the Facebook group pages. I can't find them to join them.
Oh, well, I'm sure they're gone, or if anything on there, was insinuating anything, I'm sure it's gone. Because it's crazy. Just like the cameras, the outdoor cameras for the fires, just like those being gone, the footage now,
They
they pulled
deleted
it.
that time
Yeah.
frame. I saw somebody had said that. I didn't ever go check, but that's crazy.
It is, and it's like this has been open to the public this entire time. Why does it's like every time someone wants to check something out, not only are law enforcement not giving answers, so naturally we as humans, we want answers and we're going to go look for them. Well, they're not shutting us up by not saying anything. And every time, we're looking at something by withdrawing that, you're only making it look worse. You're fueling the fire,
Yeah, I want to understand what the police did in this case. Even once they come out, if they come out and arrest everybody who I think is suspect and charge them with exactly what I think they did, I still want to understand the way the police acted with this case and the inconsistencies and incompetence and just bad choices and attitude they've had toward this whole case.
Mhm.
It's just insane. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
Kind of answer it. I'm just deciding if I want to go back there. I asked Sam, was there any drugs at this party? And she said yes. And I said, what drugs? And I said, if you don't want to tell me, you don't have to. And she said, no, we have anonymity, so I'm not worried about it. And that there was cocaine in her system, and that
what's kind of crazy to me? You know what that word? Hold on, I gotta stop you because that just threw a flag to me. You know what that word streams from? Anonymity.
This was so frustrating, though. I was typing in the private chat like immunity. Come on, quit saying
I think you
this.
and I both were. I was like,
anonymity. I don't even know if that. I know what he's saying. I know what he means, but
yeah, it really did remind me of the Nemo movie. Have you seen that? I know you said you have kids.
Yes, yeah. Oh goodness.
I'm serious. You know what you're talking about kids here though. I just want to say, to be honest with you, like when you said that word, I'm going to tell you one place and one place only popped up. And I wonder if you laughed because you know where that place is.
Nemo?
NA and AA meetings. Anonymity is one of the things that they reach out for and they talk about a lot. And it's about keeping everything in that group closed off. So that's why I caught my attention. Because I don't know if you're speaking for, because if you're speaking for yourself.
He described anonymous, right?
Yeah.
I can understand that word because you're a grown adult, but as a child to use that kind of lingo or even a younger adult, I don't see that. Okay.
I'm saying the wrong word. It's not, if it's not that, it's where they weren't going to get in trouble for anything.
Yeah, that's anonymity. That's what I'm saying. The word, it's just you said that she said that they had anonymity.
The cops had already told her that's when the Teen Talk started, and they had started putting out the interviews, or that's when she started doing interviews, or they had already gone to the cops or whatever. And so the cops had said no one will get in trouble, and so that she wasn't worried about what she was saying because she could say it out loud.
Okay. All right. The cops had anonymity. All right. I misunderstood that. I thought you meant like the kids in the group. They all had whatever happens in the group stays in the group. I could hear that.
So right here, she was trying to say that the cops gave the kids immunity, or the kids wanted immunity to talk to the cops. What was she trying to say here? Do you remember that?
I think she was saying that, and I do think immunity was where she was going, but I think she was saying that if Sammy knew something, or if any of these kids knew something, they wouldn't be scared to come forward because the cops have basically ensured they'll have immunity. But I don't think she realizes, it's obvious she's a little bit confused with it, but I don't think she realizes absolutely they would not go to the cops, because unless it's in paper, the cops can say whatever. I think what she was referring to is how during the press conferences and things like that, they were like, we just want you to come forward with information. We're not looking to get anyone in trouble.
Like they're not going to press about the alcohol and the drug usage. They want to know about the missing girl. And she's calling it immunity. They were just saying immunity about probably the party and the
Right,
stuff.
you're
As
not
long
gonna
as
go to
you'll tell us
jail.
information about the girl.
Right.
We're not going to press drug charges or, underage drinking, things like that against you. If you
Yeah.
come and you tell us the truth. But
Yeah.
the way she said that was like they'll have immunity if they were involved, if they come
If they
forward.
testify in court or something like that. And I was like, oh no.
Like that, but when you said it the other way, it was like, oh, they put a bunch of rules up, and anonymity was one of them. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It's
Okay, go ahead.
immunity, not anonymity.
I can't say it. Like I can't say ambulance, ambulance. Certain words just don't want to flow out. Anonymity.
How do you say it, Perplexed?
Immunity.
No, immunity. No. Anonymity is the right. Anonymity means
immunity.
It is.
They're not going to get in trouble.
Immunity.
Anonymous.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. See, that's the same thing though.
Not the same
We're remaining
thing.
anonymous. Whatever we do, nobody's gonna know who did it, who talked about it, who said it. Same thing. Same thing.
Which is it, Megan? Were they talking about? Are they talking about having immunity from prosecution? Or are they talking about anonymity, being their identity was protected?
It doesn't matter either way, really.
Yeah, what does?
Let me ask you this, because this just popped in my head. Fueled by coffee and true crime. I like her. I think she was like trying to help Megan last night.
She was
Kurt kept
balanced.
banning her. What was she being banned for? Because I was not paying attention sometimes. My mind had to drift away too, or I was trying to hone in on what Megan was saying. But then I would hear her and Kurt, or Kurt would just ban her all of a sudden and put her in timeout or whatever. What was going on
Last night I had no clue what, I honestly, I wasn't even sure who he had taken off panel because my mind was so all over the place. But when I did go back and watch clips of it today, I think he was saying like she was speaking over people. Maybe I really think maybe even Perplexed. I think they might have been like having some tension between her and Perplexed at one point. And so I don't know if it was the tension or if it was just talking over people. But I felt like she tried to remain like she was trying to create a neutral environment for Megan as well.
She definitely was, because she was saying that at the end, she was saying that she had worked with Megan and the other 3 YouTubers, I think Chronicles of Olivia and Conspiracies.
Well, see,
somebody
that
else
part,
to put the other stuff together.
That part bothered me because I will say I knew instantly what she was talking about. And I like not to, incriminate myself here, but the way that I know that is I have actually literally recorded phone calls before when we were dealing with like family court stuff and custody issues and things. And, I go in and I'm telling my lawyer, like, I was recording this and he said, you did what? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, that is illegal. Do not do that again. And I had no idea.
I tried to tell her when she like said that nobody caught it. I tried to tell her that hey, that you're admitting to a crime right now. Right. So don't say certain things. Like tell us what you're trying to say, but don't say it where it can be used against you or
Right.
Because
and
that's the whole video being distorted where you can't even make out what's being said. What's the point of that? She admitted that it came from her. She recorded it. The other person that's on the video, just maybe you can distort their voice a little bit, but they know that who they were talking to when they said that. They know what that conversation came from.
Well, and she could have even, I don't agree with Megan there. I don't think that I could see that person wanting to remain 100% anonymous because I think, like we were talking about earlier, it's almost unrealistic to think that there is not some corruption in law enforcement there. But
Exactly.
I could see
that,
why these
and that
people would.
everybody online is going to accuse you of being involved.
They're
if
coming
your
after you
name
next.
comes out. Like they're going to look into
Right.
your entire life to see if there's any way they can connect you to any part of this case, and it will come out if your name
Absolutely.
gets mentioned. So I think
And
that's why
no
we don't
one
hear
wants to
very
be in the
much.
hot seat.
Right.
But
Megan's just ready to jump right in.
Megan could have just stated, a friend told me, or, you know, a person that I think a super reliable source did tell me this. But
I don't think she could have at this point, though.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I think that with Perplexed on panel, because that's what I noticed when I went back and listened, I think that is why she was like, screw it. You know, I'm just going to say it. But the one thing that frustrated me about and I don't know her actual name, the Fueled by Coffee and Crime, I think that she was really respectful. I think she was trying to create a neutral environment for her. I think she was respectful in her questions. So I am not, you know, bashing her in any way.
Yeah,
but when I went back and listened, and she stated that she worked on the recording with Megan and the other creator, I was like, so we just did all of this, and the whole time you not only knew this recording existed, but like you've listened to it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I listened to it, worked on it, but like,
yeah.
Does she know the whole story then? Has she like talked to Megan and she can clearly state what Megan's trying to say, and she was trying to let Megan say it, or what?
Well, that's kind of what I picked up. That was my frustration. We just did this for so long. Yeah. Because I was like, you could have just told us this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she could have like led the conversation exactly where, because that's what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to hear what she has to say and then go back through and kind of lead the conversation through with her to not guide her into what to say, but to guide her into what to even be talking about, because she
to stay on task. Right.
Yes, definitely.
I'm asking Megan.
Yeah, it kind of does though, because
the one that I can't say right is the right one that I'm saying for this. What is Perplexed? How do you say it?
They're keeping their name private.
Say it again.
Anonymous.
No, not anonymous. It's immunity.
Immunity from prosecution.
Yeah. Immunity from that's what I'm trying to say. Immunity from prosecution.
Immunity from prosecution. Okay.
So that nothing. And they weren't going to be put in.
I'm going to respond to this. Her daughter is younger. That Sammy, her son, is Sammy's age. No, her daughter is older than Sammy, 2 years older than Sammy, and her son is Sammy's age. Just wanted to respond to that because when I saw it, that's what I thought at first too. But last night she said
anything that happened at the party and that they weren't going to get in trouble, so that therefore it was open field and they could say whatever they wanted. Is but pretty much what Sam was saying to me at the time. And I said, okay, that's fine. I don't really care. I didn't.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear on which one that.
Did you just drop out?
I'm back.
Okay, I was like, he left.
Oh,
I was not prepared to host.
That's what
is it back?
Okay. That's the one I can write is the one I'm using for this one.
I was a legal secretary for 8 years.
Hey, shout out to Dolly Vision. If you get immunity on Turtle Island, that means you can't get kicked off the island. So there's a little fun fact. Go ahead.
Survivor. Yes, I've watched.
No, not Survivor. Turtle Island. You got to go watch Dolly Vision and check out Turtle Island. It's a bunch of mambo jambo, but it's
shout out to Dolly Vision.
Okay.
Anyway,
I have no idea what that is.
You said yesterday that, or on Michelle's panel that it.
You don't know Dolly Vision?
I do not.
Oh, he's a true crimer. like he actually goes out and helps and looks for people, like
Oh,
takes the
wow.
trip to go out there. But most of the time, he's just sitting in his studio, getting high, talking to people about all the legit theories and the crazy theories. But he calls out that he thinks it's a crazy theory, or hey, it could be true, but I highly doubt it. And then he sells soap to the people who watch it.
Oh, I do know who you're talking about. He was live one night, and I think it was supposed to be about this case. So I was like, oh, okay, who's this? Because I'm new to the YouTube street. So I was like,
He's a
who's
trip.
this? And I went in. But the panelists and stuff, I think it was the wrong time for me to come in then, because I was
Maybe.
like, what are these people talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's hard. I don't want to say something. I really enjoy watching it, right? But it's not
Yeah.
the show I watch to get my information about the case.
Right.
It's just
And that's
the show
where I was
watch to
going.
see how other people are assimilating that information.
Oh, for sure. And maybe I may check it out again. It could be a really great show. Like I said, I think I had been kind of digging. I think it was the same night I found Squirrel Girl. And so I was like digging around, looking at different theories and, new info and things. And I kind of went into that and I was like, oh my God, what is this? So maybe I just caught him at the wrong time.
Yeah, maybe so. Let's see. Let's start this. But yeah, Dolly. I like Dolly.
It was Jagger that told you. Now it's Sammy that told you?
I had two different conversations, so that would be two different times. And
Okay, what was your conversation with Jagger? Let's go into Jagger.
I had talked to Jagger, and Jagger is a very nice man, or young man, I should say, very tall, and I walked right up to him and I said to him, hi, Jagger. And he said, hi. I said, I'm not going to grill you anything. He goes, please go ahead. There's nothing that you can't ask me that hasn't been asked before. And I said, I'm going to respect you. And I didn't ask too many questions, but one did come up, and he said that Kylie, when he talked to her at a certain time of the day, he knew that she had done that at that time of day. So that's what he knew. And so that's what he also knew, what time she had last done it at. And so it wouldn't have mattered later in the night. That's right. How I know.
She's talking about
two different.
So that was when they were at Kate's, or with Kate, right?
I don't know.
When they were doing creme brulee.
Okay, what is creme brulee? Do you know what that is? Is it weed or is it a dessert? Because if it's weed, I want to know how it's smacking.
They said creme brulee, right? Like,
I thought they said
Megan
creme.
Maybe they said creme. Maybe they said creme.
I could be wrong.
But I took it like they were making party favors. Like,
well, and I wondered about the drink. And then I saw where other people were saying marijuana. So,
but I mean, who knows?
I'm sure they weren't. I think we can rule out the dessert.
Is it smacking really like that? Come on.
I think I've seen that interview, and my daughter said, I don't know why those two are together. At the time we had no idea. I think creme brulee is a dessert, and she's using that as a dessert.
Oh no, it's definitely a weed too. But I'm saying, did they have
it's also an alcohol drink too.
Yeah,
I've heard, yes, but if you listen to the interview, she says we're making creme brulee, which means they're baking, and that's what I think it is. I don't know for a fact, but yes, I do know it's a dessert.
Kate said they were making creme brulee.
Yeah, but
they were definitely making the weed dessert.
Check this out. I don't know the exact timeline. Hold on. I don't know the exact timeline. No, for real. This is important. I don't know the exact timeline on how long it takes to make creme brulee, but I know there wasn't a lot of time in between their hangout sessions.
I'll tell you this. Kylie was definitely busy that day, like from what I've gathered. So yes, I don't know, but I don't know the answer to that. I don't know when she took.
How long does it take to make creme brulee? You eat creme brulee?
Nope.
Do you know how to make it?
Nope.
It can be an hour.
Megan's
up to an hour.
She tickles me.
Yeah, she is.
Creme brulee, just sitting on the couch, getting ready to go to the party, eating creme brulee. I mean, it's possible. That is possible. But
The way you say it though, like
I'm just
like it's a
saying.
normal thing.
In my
don't know.
mind, I'm going to keep it as a dessert, and that's all I know.
Man, if they were smoking weed, just say I was rolling up some creme brulee, fucking blazing down. We live in California, man. That's what I'm saying. The knowledge that you guys have on the case and the amount of knowledge that comes out is confusing. You should be able to understand that. What I think you jammed up yourself by is you didn't have enough information, and when you got put in a spot, you had to plug your own information. And sometimes you stretched a little bit or reached. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it.
I don't.
That's why I feel like the Jagger thing and they mix up. That's why I feel like you get them mixed up, because maybe you did talk to both of them, but maybe they're at a completely different time.
Jagger, I talked to Jagger. I talked to Jagger after she was found, way later. Like I talked to him probably.
Was he cleared? Was he cleared when you talked to him?
No.
Okay.
No, not at that time. This is actually probably. Oh, you know what? I can tell you, it was the day of her service. That's when I ran into all of them.
Did you go to that?
No, I had to work, and frankly, I didn't really want to go to the service because I had talked to them one other time, and I thought when they were at a teen talk that I did not know it was a teen talk.
Did any of your family go to it? Anybody in your family? You don't have to specify who it was, but did anybody attend?
No.
Megan, I got a question. Speaking of family, I remember you saying in an interview that your daughter graduated with Sammy, and that's how they were friends. And that Sammy, your daughter was gonna go to the party and then changed her mind.
My contact fell out. I had to fix
something
it.
where she wanted to see everybody before going to college, something like that, right?
Curtis, do you want to answer all that? Because I've already answered it all.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll do it again.
No, her.
Did I miss anything that you wanted to stop it for or talk about? Okay.
Simon is Sammy's age, not the daughter.
Oh yeah. I know that.
See, she confirmed.
Okay. I was confused on that too, perplexed. So she said her son is the same age as Sammy, but her daughter is 2 years older than her son. So her daughter's.
And that's what you said recently. But back on Gray's, I think it was, you said your daughter graduated with Sammy, and that your daughter, there's something like your daughter.
I was confused on that too. What
was going to meet everybody or wanted to see everybody before going to college. And
I can explain. I think where it's getting confused is that my daughter had already gone. My daughter was not in California and still is not in California, anywhere near California during this party. So my daughter would not.
Do you see how she said that she's making sure everybody knows her daughter's not around, but her daughter, she said her daughter's name, and her daughter is the Sammy connection, and her son is just unmentioned. Don't talk about him.
Which makes no sense at all. I kind of caught that when I was going back today. Even when she says that she may later, I guess I feel like she was trying to say later, when everything's done and over, she may ask her daughter to talk in more detail with Sammy about the situation, depending on how it goes. But I kind of questioned, if the son graduated with Sammy, okay, let's say he and Sammy have absolutely, no history at all. This is such a small town. Does he not have a friend who would be closely associated with her? Because if, they've said that the older kids and the younger kids all mingle at these parties and stuff. So you're telling me the same age kids don't mingle?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, if you're the same age and your sister is friends with this girl, you know that girl.
You know her.
You know her well, and you'll probably help her out, especially if she's your sister's friend. It's just, I don't know. I feel like they definitely know each other better.
And if her son graduated and this was a graduation or, farewell graduation party, why would you not be clear that, like, yeah, my daughter was completely out of town. She definitely wasn't there, but my son also didn't go.
Right.
I don't know. That's strange to me too.
I think this is where she starts getting into that exact conversation where it started making me feel like she's really trying to separate her son away from this and doesn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
My son was not at the party, and he graduated with Sam. So, and I'm going to say this too, Nate.
Yeah, hold on, Perplex. I'll let you finish, but Perplex, I did think this already.
Like how she just slipped that last party. My son was not at the party, and he graduated with Sam. And then Perplexed,
Right, super quick.
She's starting the beef back up with Perplexed real quick after she said that, hoping that gets lost in the sauce too. At least that's how I felt at the time. And it could be wrong, but that's just how I was reading it.
Let me get her started to jump off of this. Yeah.
Before you got in here, this was one of the things that we were at. But you can finish answering it. But I was confused too. And I was one of the ones I think that pointed out the brother. And everybody was like, no, she didn't say a son. I meant a son. No, she didn't have a son. And I said, yeah, she did have a son. And I think you were in there with me, or somebody was in there with me and said, yeah, it is a son. And we rewound it and found out, but it was very confusing on how it was said. And I was confused too. I was like, well, wait a minute, your son is 2 years younger than Sammy and them. So then she would be in the grade that Kylie's supposed to be in. So I was confused too.
No, but what I mean is, like on ickedmel's, she's
No,
saying,
I know what she's referring to, and I can explain.
Okay.
I think you're getting confused. I said it wrong, which is a very possibility. I said this was a party that everybody was going to because they were going off to college, and Sam and everybody was not, that this was their last hurrah before they all went to college. Because I guess I said earlier, so I don't know how you want to put it because this is where it gets confusing. This is also beginning of their summer because they had just graduated, but a lot of kids, when you go to college, if anybody knows, they go to college a month sooner than school starts. So a lot of these kids are either going away to college, and this is the last hurrah, but if they stayed in town and were continuing their education with like the high school, then they would still be here for that time. So when I said that, I guess that was where it got confused, is that some of them, this was their last time where they're going to see friends. And so if my daughter had gone to the party, then this would have been this also would have been her time to say goodbye to her friends before she went off to college again, because she was at a college that was an hour and a half away.
Oh,
But her son was graduating, right? Or he's a senior now?
It's my understanding he was graduating.
With Sammy,
I thought he graduated with Sammy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But then what she's talking about here, that's what makes things confusing and makes you feel like she's trying to throw you off, because it has nothing to do with her kids, and they're asking her about her kids.
Right.
She's just talking about the other kids who are going off to college and graduating this year that were at the party, but her son didn't go to the party. And her daughter wasn't in town anywhere and has already graduated and went off to college. So talking about all these other kids who are getting ready to leave for college, we get that with the farewell party, you know?
Right. They've elaborated on it.
Yeah.
Like if she was on summer break and came down and visited, she would be getting ready to leave to go back to college to start her next year of college.
Yes, because she switched colleges.
Hey, yeah. Megan. Hey, yeah. Megan, I have a message for you. I just received.
Here's the weird stuff.
I have to word this a certain way. Your 3 friends are wanting you to come speak with them privately and to step off of panel.
Why would you even say that live?
Yeah.
That is what I've been asked to say on panel.
Let's make up a much bigger conspiracy, you know?
Oh, man.
Let's put that out here for everybody to hear and decide.
I know. I had no idea. I was like, why? What are you doing?
Like, that was insane to me. But
yeah,
hey, maybe they needed her attention. It made sense later after you found out that she was like talking to them and
right,
a part of the group. And again, I don't mean nothing bad toward her. I like her. I just like it did make sense to me right then. I was in the backstage like, what the crap?
I was
You know?
like, who are the three friends? Why are you
Exactly. What three friends? Kate, Jagger, and Sammy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like that's so disrespectful.
I'm speaking to Megan.
Yeah, I know, but she might not have it. I mean, I would think she. Do you have any idea what that even means?
I'm told she'll know who that is.
I know who it is.
I
Now
don't
it's
know.
muted. I'm muted somehow because they just called me. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I can mute you up. I can mute you up, and you can take your call if you would like. Can we mute you up?
I'm fine. I don't know why they want me over there because they told me not to go up here. But and I'm not supposed to be up here. I'm gonna get in trouble. But
Look, check this
anyway,
out.
go ahead with your question.
You can do whatever you want. I'm just passing on a message that I got. That's all I know.
Well, this is the thing. Like, nobody is trying to point the finger at her. Nobody is. She's a grown woman, and if you don't feel comfortable with a question, like I've said to you before, there's nothing to pass on. You can say, "Look, I would prefer not to answer it. Move on to the next one." I just want to get you to be able to get through some of the stuff that people want answers to, and I know some of the stuff sounds silly, but it's also a lot of the stuff in the chats and a lot of the stuff that you want to put an end to. It will kind of curb some of those issues. And I know it might sound like the question is a little bit aggressive or not in your favor.
No, you guys are fine. I'm doing fine.
I'm
gonna go out, and I'm not. I'll be like, I have to go out and come back because when they called me, my phone muted, so I have to have you next to my ear to hear you. I don't know how. Or
yeah, do what you got to. No, I know what it did. It does it to me.
All right. See, I mean, how convenient, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But the little funky chick. I shouldn't have said the before that. I'm sorry. Little funky chick. I feel awkward saying that regardless. I think Megan is a very sweet woman and seems to be protective, and I think she asked Sammy questions. Sammy thought it might be a good opportunity to have this woman have her back. I think Megan's a very sweet woman too, and I think she's just caught up in the middle of she inserted herself in the middle of something that she shouldn't have and made a mess, and now she's trying to clean it up, making a bigger mess. But I think she's well-intentioned the whole time, and just depending on whose well-being she means, if that makes sense. Like,
I think that's where she went wrong. Like, I think she made a bigger mistake being honest, saying like, yes, I was trying to defend Sammy, because honestly, my mind would go the opposite route. It's like there's a kid, not a young adult, a child, a minor who was found in the back of her car, unalived under whatever circumstance, we don't know. And I would be like putting the fire on my kids. But I can also see if she's being harassed, and I'm sure she's been harassed, feeling like as a parent, these people are going to, cause this kid to unalive herself, So I could even see that part of it, which is why I asked, because I wanted to know where her headspace was. But I think that she really screwed up because we don't always, when we're on the outside looking in, we don't always consider like, well, I could have been on this side as well. I think she insinuated, like you said, a divide, that there's Sammy's side and then Kylie's side.
Right. And that's what bothered me so much when she said that, was that should be the same side.
Right.
Why did you expect it to be two different sides, And maybe she didn't in the beginning. Maybe she didn't see it as two different sides in the beginning. And then once Sammy started catching so much more blame from everybody, then she started saying, well, wait a minute. Is there two sides to this story?
Right. And am I on the wrong side? Because she acknowledged that. She said, if it was my kid, no, I wouldn't want it done.
She wouldn't want that going on. Yeah. I feel like the strategy, the mindset should have been from the beginning finding Kylie, or like figuring out what happened to Kylie, rather than let me stop this person from getting accused of it that I'm not even 100% sure didn't do it. you know?
Mm-hmm.
She says 100 at certain points, but she also said 75. And then she
And I
said
think I heard
90.
90. Yeah. So I kind of wonder if as a mother, she has
She's
maybe
conflicted
a little
both
bit of
ways.
denial. Yeah. And I think she may be in denial. I think that because I question even, I don't think her daughter did anything to Kylie, but I question if her
If
daughter is
she's
truly
as
close
perfect
with
as she
her
says.
and what she may know.
Right.
Because I've had friends now, nothing like this, but as a teenager, I've had friends that, have done stuff they shouldn't have done. And if my mom would have grilled me about it, I would have been like, no, they absolutely did not do that. Now, this is, obviously very, very different. But I mean, we've heard it more than once that this community is almost like a cult in the way that they stick together,
Yeah.
so I think she may, to me, it's weird for her to say, I may later ask my daughter to talk more in depth, like with Sammy about this. To me, it would be, why not right now?
Oh, yeah. She said her daughter hasn't even asked Sammy a question about any of it.
Right.
She just
Why?
knows, like, why? Why wouldn't you? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it could, my best friend, me and him have been friends since like elementary school. I'm 35.
Mhm.
He's my age, right? If somebody told me he did something or he might have did something, the first thing I'm doing is calling him and asking him what's going on. But I don't see how that's looked at as, oh, I don't want to be disrespectful to this person. No, that's what is going on. Are you good? Like, did you do some
Right.
crazy something? I want to know
Yeah.
about it because I'm close to you. I want to know so it doesn't, come back or I'm not involved or
Mhm.
affect it. And we can, you tell me before tell anybody else I'm your best friend. So if
Yeah.
I can't imagine even the other way, my best friend not asking me about something if they hear I'm going through something like that.
Or like New Life in your chat said, if I'm going to, basically, if they're going to speak on behalf of the person, making sure the story is absolutely straight before they talk. And, she could even call her and say, look, my mom sees all the hate that you're getting and she wants to help you. But I need to
Right.
know everything about that night so that she can help you.
Let me ask you this. This just popped in my head when you said that. When she was talking about the Spanish party, the woman from the Spanish party, that's a friend of hers, right?
I'm not sure. Because and I kind of question what qualifies as a friend to her.
Right, but
Because
I want to get to where she said when the woman went into the police department, she had another lady go with her, right?
I do
I'm
believe.
going a little the conspiracy side here and saying something. I don't mean this. I'm just saying like this is where my mind goes. The whole Spanish party situation, the woman seeing something, and then some other lady that came out to the campground going to the police department with her when she goes to make these claims or whatever from the recording. Did Xaname's name not pop in your mind with
It
that?
did
With
instantly.
somehow Zaname had this picture from this beautiful Spanish party, but apparently it was only 3 people.
Yep.
And this one woman, like how they had to interact. They had to come together for her to get that Snapchat picture. So
yeah,
I'm not saying Zaname did anything, but Zaname was in there. Like the fact that you can tie them together probably, and not that it's not a sure thing. I don't want to speak anything crazy because I don't want to bring any more headache to her than she needs if she didn't do anything. And I don't believe she really did anything, but maybe that's she went there. I feel like as a fan of ickedmel, I feel like she was doing everything she was doing as a fan of ickedmel to send to ickedmel, and maybe she would benefit her YouTube channel. that she was starting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And
And I mean,
then
people can judge.
she talked to somebody who said they saw the car go in the water.
Yeah.
Did she ever say that she thinks the car was in the water before she started getting accused? What was her point of view on this case before that? I can't even remember now.
I can't either, but the fact that if we're still, you mean Xaname's perspective on it?
Yes. What
If
did
she was
she
in the
think
water?
it was? I know she was defending the Ronnie Jones, but before
Yeah.
that was a big thing. What was she saying she thought happened to Kylie?
I'm not sure, but the fact that she was in the water says to me
Right
that
over the car after talking to the
right,
woman who
yeah,
saw the car go in the water at that
right,
location. Yeah,
yeah,
that's where I'm going with that. That's where I was going with that. I got ADHD too, right?
I
So
have ADD, so
when you start putting that together, it's like, well, what did she know? And if she
yeah,
canoed over it at that time, how deep was it then? And would she have seen it? Like
yeah. Well,
that's crazy that if she ended up getting blasted and blamed and all that, but then she actually was tied into the inside story of the case after all. Wouldn't that be wild?
That would be wild. That would, but it's crazy because when she said that, my mind went to Xaname. Instantly.
Oh yeah, me too.
It did.
Yeah, immediately.
There was
when she
no
said it, but I just
other.
remembered.
Yeah.
Oh.
You want me to kick you out and you can just come back in?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. No, I appreciate you guys. Hey, I will say though, like next time if you want to do something like that, just hit me in the side chat. You know what I mean? Because just based off of what I know, that could have put this woman in a pickle now because there's 1,300 people that think she's jumping out to go change what she's saying to come back in.
Oh no, no, it's nothing like that. No,
I know that. I know that that's not what it's like, but that's what it's gonna be perceived.
Oh no, it's nothing like that. No, it's nothing like that.
All right, but I just was letting you know, like I know that it's not, but just be careful because people look at things or they just came in and they don't know why she's just running off. So be careful. That's all. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. No. Nothing like that.
All right. We're back.
Nothing like that. She's coming back.
So let's dial back up. Let's dial. She's back.
So my three friends, I'll clarify this right now. To the three friends, if you're hearing me, I understand I'm not supposed to be here. You told me to stay off. I am a grown woman. I'm gonna do what I need to do, and I know that I've seen him before. I want to be respectful of him because I had not talked to him. So I'll be there soon. And I'm sorry if you need questions asked. I'll be there as soon as I can.
Did they tell her to stay off YouTube or stay off of Kurt's panel?
I'm literally allowing you to have your voice, answer some questions in front of a bunch of people. That's why I did this panel today, and I was gonna do this.
I think they wanted her. I think they wanted her to make the specific point and then be done and not ramble. I think that's what they wanted. Yeah, like don't stay around to get beat up on or questioned or whatever, where you say some more stuff.
You may dig yourself a deeper hole.
Right. Yeah.
Because I just wanted to understand why, like, okay, I've said it from the get-go. When people insert themselves into things, you're going to get questioned. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that. I will answer this to that because I want to say, and I know that's also what everybody's saying. Did I insert myself because I didn't? I did tell the kids, let me take the hits for you. Let me, as a parent, I have stronger armor and I get my feelings hurt. Yes. But I'm also capable of answering more questions in the right way, which they probably are better. So I didn't insert.
Is that not hilarious? That's hilarious. She's better at answering questions the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Sammy made a mess, but she has to,
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sammy at least gave direct answers. Like, maybe her body language was off different way, but at least she was answering with what you would expect a person to answer with.
Yeah, we ended up in
Kinda.
the grocery store
Mostly.
with a rat, and
Yeah,
was like,
I thought she
"What?"
was talking about a rat on her wedding day at one time. She was like, I was walking down the aisle and the mouse jumped over my foot, and I was like, what are we talking about?
Sincerely, and I wanted to debunk things that was being said about the children, and because they are the adults, young adults. But that was really why it started. And that's why I went to Perplexed and I went to Gary because whatever, to debunk things that were being said at the very beginning. And that's why I didn't even think that because all those times I had to call back, I didn't even think about all those times because I was just saying what happened, because that was in the first like 24 hours of her missing. So I was just trying to get out information because that they were dealing with it locally at the time and some people had picked it up. So that's why. So I didn't really insert myself meaning to create this big old drama. Like I don't do drama and I don't care for it. And I really keep to myself, and I'm not a busybody and I'm not the town gossip. I just care about the kids. That's really what it was.
Okay.
Do you think that?
I
She's
don't
not
know.
the town gossip, or do you think she's like the really quiet type who stays to herself and then she just
No, not at all.
exploded?
I don't know if I feel like she would be the type to really not like enjoy drama, but she would be the one that stirs the pot without even knowing that she stirs the pot, you know?
Yeah. I actually agree, yeah.
Hey, and I wanted to ask my other question. Speaking of the kids, were either one of your kids back in town? Did they attend any of the teen?
No, I kept my daughter out of town.
Anything?
I kept my daughter out of town. I told her she didn't want to. She did not want to come. She did not want to. I don't think she ever wanted to come back. But if she had wanted to come back, I would have said no because she doesn't need to be involved.
So like,
You just said, wait a minute, because I don't like the answer to that. Wait a minute. You told us a few minutes ago that this was the last party until school started. So why would she come
back?
I'm
talking about now. I'm sorry. I'm talking. No, wait. No, hold on. Let me explain. If my daughter was here, she would have been at the party, no doubt. Like
no. She asked you if any of the festivities after Kylie went missing, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no. Okay, I can go. That's fine too.
But then you said she never came here
Kylie went missing. After Kylie went missing, knowing that my daughter and the way she is and how she would have put herself next to Sam, and she would have been on Front Street. I would not have been able to control that at the time. Looking back now, like today, like when I talked to her yesterday, we're all very happy that she did not come back to stand next to insert herself after this, because it would have been horrible for my daughter to be involved on Front Street of this.
So that's where she's basically saying that her daughter and Sammy are peas in a pod, right?
Yeah,
and
but then
she's super glad that her daughter didn't come back to help, because if she had, she would be another suspect to everybody online.
Should be being picked apart pretty much.
Right,
but
yeah.
That bothers me too, because they're two peas in a pod, and you're telling me, so when they have a phone conversation, even if they're calling each other
right
to check in, she's not saying like, well, this and this is coming up now. Like, what happened then? What happened at that point?
They've definitely talked about it. She's probably just saying that so that she doesn't have to answer questions about a phone call between her daughter and her daughter's friend.
I don't know, man. I think she truly believes like her daughter doesn't know anything about anything to do with this. I think she could be just like Sammy's parents, like my kid's completely, there's nothing going on here, truly. Yeah. And she may truly believe that.
She definitely believes her daughter is squeaky clean, and she may be. I'm not saying she's not, but she definitely believes she's squeaky clean at the same time.
But I believe her daughter knows something.
Her daughter and Sammy are basically the same personality type, so she would be right there in the forefront trying to lead the events and all that. That's not a bad thing for her daughter to be, but in this case, with the blame that's on Sammy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I get it too, though, that like anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, if their name gets mentioned in relation to this case, they're a suspect. And I mean, it was spreading to YouTubers for a while, you know.
Yeah.
If you even reported on the case, you might have been a suspect trying to cover up something with the case. So
With this case, it is guilty until proven innocent.
yes,
In my opinion, that is how it's been for every person that has the slightest involvement.
definitely. And I mean, I get on that side. I get her not wanting her daughter to come back and be exposed to that. But to me, it feels weird saying, "I'm glad my daughter didn't come help look for her dead friend or her missing friend now," because she would have
been in a bad spot.
harassment. But
yeah,
I don't know. You're glad she didn't come back and help. That just sounds weird.
It does sound bad.
I'm glad my daughter didn't put herself in the forefront of this. Would have been a great sentence to use rather than I'm glad she didn't help look for Kylie.
I think she misspeaks often.
And
but
I
I think that's
held against her
because
heavy.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think she realizes the importance before you hop on here, thinking before you speak. I think she is just one of those people that they just speak and then they think.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's coming out as soon as it's processed, especially when she's on the back foot. She doesn't have time to compose herself and say, like, you may be very surprised if you can get a conversation with her with just one person just talking, just talking, you may be very surprised at the person you meet rather than the person who's da 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 da. Or she could do that no matter what. But I would like to know that,
For sure.
Okay. Do you know anything about like the Truckee way? Like, is that a part of why you're kind of banding with, the kids? I get it, but does that mean anything to you when you hear that? Truckee way, the Truckee way, like the motto of the town. Does that mean anything?
No, I don't know what there's a truck. I don't know what that means. There's a Truckee way, just meaning that we have a, no, I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Okay. All right. No, I'm just asking because I was just saying, like, I've heard you talk about how you're looking out for kids.
When I say the Truckee way, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you meant there was someone that was on the advertisement somewhere. I'm like, what are you talking about? When I say it's the Truckee way, it's just like when it's just saying that the Truckee way is that we all the parents care about their kids. Like parents care about the kids, all of them in general. Some parents care more. But
and when she should sometimes she should just say, I don't know about what you're asking, instead of trying to like understand herself right then and give an answer that she's not sure of. I think the Truckee way thing is blown out of proportion from the Facebook pages and the community rules on the community Facebook pages, and then people saying that in chats and it getting mixed over to the Truckee community way rather than the community way or the community rules for the Facebook pages, because they literally have rules, and I think people are extrapolating. So I read a post, I want to say maybe it was a comment on one of my videos or a post somewhere else for it, but it was somebody who gave off a list of Truckee rules for the Truckee way, and to me, it was clearly Facebook page rules.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, like you mentioned, I think you'd get a totally different person if it was one-on-one, and she was like, if she was speaking with someone like you, that's, makes it a point to create a neutral environment for her. But I think like those questions where she could have really just said, look, I don't know. I don't know what they mean by that. I don't think she was comfortable doing that because she knew someone was going to come behind her and say, oh, but you did know on this day, you commented on that and you knew what it meant then. you know,
Right.
and
Yeah. But those people are going to say that anyway, no matter. Like, there's a group of people that are going to hear her, and it doesn't matter if she comes out and says everything the way it should be said. Because of the beginning, there's this group. There's going to be a group of people who don't believe what she says and thinks it's all her. If she does get to sit down and speak clearly, some people will get the truth, but some people will still comment and say, well, this is obviously scripted. This isn't even her speech patterns and how she normally talks and how she does this. That's the internet, you know?
yeah, it is. And
She's going to have to understand that she's not going to please everybody. Never. Like, there's people hate me, and I don't even feel like I'm very controversial about anything. I talk about MMA and like what I think is going on in a case. I can't be wrong because it's what I think.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not saying arrest these people and throw them under the jail. I'm saying if they did it, arrest them, and I think they did it. But I'm not, you know, in no way am I trying to ruin these people's lives or anything. Every time I try to make sure I say that, they come at me crazy. It's crazy. Like, at first I didn't realize it because I had the settings on my YouTube studio or whatever where it like held comments for review, and I didn't even know that. So all my comments were just good. When I turned and saw that and turned allow all comments and saw all these people, the morbid reality people attacking me for even talking about it, it was like, oh my God, these people are nuts.
They came after you too.
Oh yeah.
I saw him on Zab's channel. She was live and I saw him, and so when I went and looked, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was like hesitant to even go on the page and just peek. And these people were, I mean, he has almost,
it's the type of people. These are the type of people who will come in and spam and do. It's not. I haven't had to like deal with him.
And it looks like they truly believe it's a good cause. Like they believe that they are doing righteous work here.
They are cancel culture and they disagree. I mean, like, if you disagree with somebody these days, it's like they think it's the right thing to, you can't speak because I don't agree with what you're saying. What you're saying is harmful because it's not what I think. So I don't want you to speak, rather than I want to debate you about this. Morbid started where he was going on the panels and debating, and I disagree with him. I think what he's saying is ridiculous to an extent. Some, you know, like,
well, some of it I actually agree with.
But anything that you disagree with, that doesn't mean that you get to take that down. That means you should argue your point against it. And when I checked out his live where it was just him talking to his viewers, he's talking about there's what things we can do to get these videos taken down. There's ways we can shut them up. And it's like, whoa, that's why I even said anything about it. Because it's like, that's
do that.
A whole nother thing there, buddy. Like, we're going to have a problem over that. And I'm not even giving the controversial opinion, really. Like, I think maybe she overdosed, and people are coming at me saying, oh, you're blaming her, saying she's a drug head. No, I'm saying she might be. I'm saying that group of friends looks like it, and they're partying and admitting to drinking and getting fucked up and doing drugs. Like, what do you want me to say? It's like, I'm not blaming her. You're blaming her if you say it's an accident. She drove off in the water herself. I'm not blaming her. You're saying she's drinking and driving. What's the difference, you know? It's insane to me that anybody can be just team accident without the cops saying, we believe this was an accident. And even if the cops say it because of their incompetence, it won't mean as much, or because of their corruption, it won't mean as much. But they haven't even said that. And there's people 100%. Like, oh, it's an accident. Like, if the cops come out and say it's an accident and give a explanation of how they believe it happened, and that seems like that could be plausible, then I'm not going to go and say, no, they're all wrong because I was suspicious about these people. And now if they don't give a reasonable explanation for everything that falls in with all the facts and evidence we already have, then I'm still going to feel like maybe they're wrong because they're the police. But if they could give like a legit story through and it follows with all the evidence, then it wouldn't make sense to say not. But if one piece of that evidence doesn't fit back into that puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
then it didn't happen that way, you know? Because the
Well,
evidence
and
can't tell you a lie. It can only tell you, evidence is evidence. You have evidence this happened or evidence that
yes,
happened. It can't say that this phone call was at 12:36 and they talked to each other,
knowing,
and then this
yep.
video showing that she was in the water at 12:33. She was
Mm-hmm.
sunk at 12:33. It just stuff like that,
100%. And I think that but that's really what's sad. Imagine how much legitimate details could come from if, the people on, I guess, the two different sides of this could debate things, and then they may both be wrong and they may come together to a completely different conclusion. But everybody, that's one of the things I was like, oh, I'm gonna create a YouTube channel, and because my husband's been like on me about it. He's like, you research these cases like for hours at night anyway, like you need to just create one. And I was like, yeah, great idea. And then I this Kylie Rodney case hit, and I was like, oh no, because I've seen such a flip in creators that I really respected, but you see kind of that ugly side. And I feel like that's the reason, because people cannot agree to disagree, and they can't even debate. They can't discuss it. It is, you're a horrible human because you disagree with everything I've said.
I think
And
that'll happen
that sucks,
with every
man.
case, though. I think that if somebody follows a creator and they agree with
Yeah.
them about everything on one case, and then the next case comes and the creator goes a different route or they see it a different way, then I think that happens probably at every case. And it's just a different group of creators that came together for the last case. Now they disagree on this case. But I'm not sure. Like,
Well,
I've seen it like a little bit with, not this way, but
yeah.
a little
Well, I
bit
mean,
when
you
it was
had
like Summer
people,
Wells and the parents, did the parents do it, and people saying don't blame the parents and all the crazy.
yeah.
I don't even. I tried to watch some videos on that the other day to refresh, and that's just disturbing.
I can't even jump into that one.
Yeah.
I really can't, because there's so much on it. I've watched, which I remember from the beginning. I think because I literally had YouTube for the sole purpose of watching like a few different creators. I rarely even commented. If I did, it was under those few creators that I watched. And I didn't even watch live panels. I watched like 10 to Life and things like that.
Yeah.
I remember when she covered the Summer Wells case. And, I saw a video. Obviously now my suggested stuff looks a lot different. And I was like, I'm going to check this out. People on here have gone so many different routes with it. I can't keep up with that and try to keep up with this one. I can't do it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely a little crazy. Oh, I am exhausted though. It's 2:20. I think I'm just going to end this right here. Go
All
to
right.
bed. I appreciate
Well,
you
I
coming
probably
on
need to get
though.
some sleep as well. Thank you for having me.
I'll make sure I find you and subscribe to your channel. Well, have you already started making
Thank you.
videos?
I have not put up any content yet. I was hoping by the end of the weekend to get some up. But then when I saw Kurt's live, I was just watching and I was like, I'm going to research some things. And when she came on and I had questions, I didn't know that was going to be a
Yeah, I
4-hour
know the feeling.
ordeal. So it
That's
put me
how this
behind.
started for me too. I mean, it was the same. Like, just I want to speak
Yeah.
on it too. So let me tell you what
Well,
I think.
I do appreciate it though. And
course.
I would love to see you reach out to Megan. I think that you have a really good mindset to
Yeah, I reached
speak with
out
her.
today.
I think that's a
I
wonderful
think that
idea.
we're going to be able to make it work, hopefully.
Awesome.
Hopefully.
Well, I will be back to watch.
All right. Well, we'll see you
All
later.
right. Thank you. You have a good night.
You too. And yeah, I'm out. I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate that super sticker. Yeah, super sticker from earlier. That was cool. Have a good one, guys.